Probably the most exciting part of a goose hunt is that moment when you've got all these birds over your decoy spread and you're waiting for that one bird to basically make a mistake, and he comes down and then the whole thing comes down with him.
You know, you put 2,000 or 3,000 birds in your face, there's a lot going on.
Those few seconds are the most compelling part of the white goose hunt.
Here they come, here they come.
Ducks Unlimited Television is presented by Drake Waterfowl Systems, innovators in waterfowl hunting.
Hello and welcome to Ducks Unlimited TV. I'm Ashley Ward. The continuing problem of too many snow geese is causing a habitat crisis on their Arctic breeding grounds. At the same time, it's offering waterfowlers some exciting hunting opportunities after the regular season ends. In this episode, Cara, Harper, and Doug Larsen take advantage of the spring snow goose season in Arkansas with Jared Brown of Green Top Farms. Jared is a world-class expert at putting folks on the X for late season snow geese. We're also in Minnesota with Phil Bergeli at the Federal Ammunition Facility checking out black cloud shot shells, right now on DUTV.
I look at the conservation order as a golden opportunity. I can't believe that in our lifetime as hunters, we have this opportunity to pursue a species ethically and in a sporting fashion, you know, with guns unplugged, electric collars, and all the kinds of things that we're able to do with the snow geese. To be able to say, we're gonna go out and put out this giant spread and do all this work and have the ability to literally shoot, you know, 50 or 40 or 100 geese in a morning, it's incredible. It's turn of the century level kind of stuff. Certainly there's other ways to hunt these geese, but the most fascinating and the one that provides the most excitement and the most spectacle is decoying these birds. But the sheer manpower it takes to put something like this together it's pretty daunting.
When Jared mentioned that we would have over 2,000 decoys, I couldn't even fathom that amount of decoys.
You know, there's a certain point that there's so many decoys that you just can't get them all out. So you have to find the fine line of being able to actually put it out and pick it back up.
Yeah, it's one thing certainly to decoy ducks and to think that, well, the biggest flock I'll decoy today will be 6, so I'll put out 2 or 3 dozen duck decoys, and you know, you then have overwhelming numbers as an attractant. But you'll never be in the league of what these snow geese will be. Even putting out, you know, 2,000 or 2,500 decoys, you're trying to decoy a flock of 15,000 or 20,000 birds. You're always going to be on the short side, but you've got to put down a big white spot to get those birds interested.
Once they start, they generally continue. They see one another. We're in a competition for one another, so when one group gets off the roost, then the next group gets off the roost, they're pretty well going to follow each other. And then once they do find the field, then now that's when the tornado starts on that field.
So right at first light, you know, we had just finished setting up the decoy spread and we were down trying to get our guns loaded, and I was actually turned around trying to, you know, grab my shells, and all of a sudden we start hearing all of these snow geese. Oh my God. Oh my God. Is that what's gonna happen?
Yeah, that's pretty much what's going to happen. Do you like it yet?
Yeah. This is awesome. And that was an exciting start to the hunt because I knew it was about to get really good.
Go ahead. The one thing that I always take away from even a good snow goose hunt is the spectacle. through the course of a snow goose hunt, you will have some sort of incredible spectacle, and we've had that here.
Ducks Unlimited Television is presented by Drake Waterfowl Systems, innovators in waterfowl hunting. Mossy Oak Shadow Grass Blades, the official camo of Ducks Unlimited, and Ducks Unlimited's Rescue Our Wetlands campaign, banding together for waterfowl.
Overall, I love to be in Arkansas. I love to snow goose hunt. I love the fact that we have this opportunity after the regular duck season. It doesn't mean it has to be a mad slaughter, obviously, and you have to be very careful philosophically and ethically how you go about it. But again, I would go back to the opportunity we have to snow goose hunt. It's amazing.
Back in the late 90s, they saw this as a real issue that needed to be tackled by the conservation community.
That's a bunch of geese right there.
Wow. I've never been on a goose hunt this good.
I'd really like
About
to get one of these big wads spinning now. We're just
big tornado.
haul them in and watch them spin. Luther.
Go ahead and get loaded back up and get covered back up.
They were having serious impacts on their Arctic nesting habitat, not only eating out themselves potentially from house and home, but also to other Arctic wildlife that utilize that. So having that kind of an impact, they started seeking out ways to lower that population.
So hard for me to let go of duck season. It's a shame to see it end, and this just provides such great opportunity. You know, February is a short month, but certainly in the northern part of the United States, it's the longest month. It's always cold and dark, and it's great to get down in the southern states and be able to do what I love, be able to do it with fun people, and be able to do it with effective outfitters, and just enjoy some more time outdoors.
Oh my gosh. Oh my gosh.
You know, there's so many aspects to waterfowl hunting
look, right
that you always learn something along the way, and especially with the goose hunting, I learned a lot about the goose behavior. In duck hunting, we've gone towards realism. Everyone's looking at the most realistic decoys. I think the snow goose spread is designed to create this impressionistic view of what snow geese look like on the ground.
I mean, that's the great thing about this stuff is when it's either off or it's on, and right now it's way on, and we're covered up, and it's wild. It really is wild, and I miss it. It's been a while since I've done it, and man, it's a barrel of monkeys fun. There's so much stuff going on. Whew, whew, whew. Man, Richie, we got like the mother load coming. I'm not a good estimator, but that's, James, what's the scientific estimate?
Yeah, I was like, I wouldn't even know. Like 15,000?
I'd say 15,000 would be my guess.
Goodness. Oh my goodness. Wow.
If we could get one good volley out of this, would be groovy.
Wow.
You know, when you're looking at a species that has, you know, right now we think there's probably upwards of 15 million birds, and a good chunk of those birds are wintering in this part of the world. Even when you have a great hunt, it feels like, well, we really didn't put a dent in the just sheer number of birds we saw, the tens of thousands of birds that we saw this morning.
It's been more than 20 years since waterfowl managers became concerned about growing populations of snow geese and the impacts they're having on Arctic nesting habitats. In the late 1960s, there were fewer than 1 million lesser snow and Ross's geese in the Mississippi and Central Flyways. Today, waterfowl managers believe that the total light goose population has ballooned to more than 15 million lesser snow geese, 1.5 million Ross's geese, and 1 million greater snow geese. This population explosion stems from the expansion of agriculture on the birds' migration and wintering areas, which has provided them with an almost unlimited food supply for much of the year. Waterfowl hunters have played their key role in addressing this crisis. Liberalized hunting seasons and regulations for light geese have been in place for 2 decades, and they have succeeded in doubling harvest continentally. But they have so far failed to stop either the growth of many light goose populations or the subsequent adverse effects on the birds' habitats. Ducks Unlimited and its partners are continuing research to better understand this unprecedented problem and its effects in habitats up and down the flyways. Like many modern wildlife management problems, there is no easy solution. The waterfowl community will continually work together to find answers to this habitat crisis. You can find out more about snow geese at ducks.org.
DU Insights is brought to you by Mossy Oak Properties. Find your favorite place at mossyoakproperties.com. DUTV is powered by Black Cloud Ammunition. Drop ducks like rain. Mossy Oak Properties, America's land specialist. Purina Pro Plan, nutrition that performs. And Mossy Oak Bottomland, the official timber pattern of Ducks Unlimited.
I was amazed at the amount of snow geese that are actually here. You know, whenever they came up to feed, it was just a wall of snow geese, and the sound from the e-collars, the sound from the actual geese, it's just everything was, it was such on a large scale that I'd never experienced before. Within the first 5 minutes of this hunt, I knew it was going to be better than any other snow goose hunt I've ever been on. Oh yeah.
Come on.
Oh man. Look at those.
Stay. This is decent here.
Hey, I'll take that all day.
Since I've been hunting white geese, the size of the spreads has changed dramatically. I mean, 20 years ago, people said, oh man, you had a 300 or 400 decoy spread, that was amazing. And now, you know, most guys that are doing this seriously won't leave the house without 1,000, and I think we're twice that, and maybe 2,500 today. And that's just sort of what it takes if you want to hunt these big groups of geese, is you've got to cover acres with white. Because it just takes a lot of work and a lot of workers.
Yeah, but you know, whenever you're out here at 5 o'clock in the morning and you're putting all the decoys out, it really makes you appreciate when everything comes together. The sunrise comes up and you're able to see just everything that you've done, and then you get those geese that start working. It's pretty incredible.
You know, to see that sight, hear those sounds, it's a show of the highest order.
When you go out to the blind in the morning, you know, you hope your motor will start. You hope your waders won't leak. You hope your gun will work. But the one thing you don't have to worry about is your ammunition. You know, in all my years of duck hunting, I've had one dud cartridge, and it didn't come from this factory here behind me. We're at the Federal Ammunition Plant in Anoka, Minnesota. We're going to take a look inside and see how Black Cloud is made.
This is where the whole shotgun shell process starts. We start off with these plastic beads.
But this is the beginning of a Black Cloud round.
Yep. And actually, every single round we make starts with the same.
There's little plastic beads.
Yep. To make it a Black Cloud round, we have these black colorant beads to the process. So these two are added together and they're melted here at the beginning of our extruder. It extrudes out the plastic through a die and then into a water cooling chamber here.
This process here, this is the most surprising thing of the whole tour. Who knew that you made a 50-yard long tube of plastic?
Yeah, if you think about it, it's one big long tube until the end where we're cutting it to size.
Let's think about high stimulus hunting situations. What in the world are we talking about? Have you ever been on a snow goose hunt? You got 4 or 5 guys in the blind, very tight surroundings, 3 or 4 dogs working, mammoth amount of decoys out, flags, calling, and then you knock one bird way down out there. How in the world do you duplicate that type of stress, that type of energy in a training situation to prepare your dog? Well, it's going to be difficult, but I got some tips for you. Number one, think about how you train a soldier or how you train a football player. They work in very complex, high-stress situations. What they do is they run patterns through repetition and consistency till their skills become a habit, a reflex, and that's what you have to train with this dog. So what you need to concentrate on is not all the surrounding stimuli when you're training. Think more about building the skills, the sub-skills your dog's going to need that he will do those skills, perform those skills despite the distractions and the conditions. So how are you going to do it? You're going to perform every skill that you need to pick a bird and bring it back 5 times in 5 locations before you start adding stimuli. Practice the dog not seeing the birds fall. They're in a hide, they're not going to see them. Lots of birds down in multiple directions that the dog goes where you point. You can duplicate these types of situations. You can build a small blind by your kennel, just using some pallets and brush and work out of that versus standing in the wide open field. That's not the way it's going to be. Practice as you will play. So you can add stimuli once you get your basic reflexes down, and just make sure that your dog plows through any type of distraction because it's a conditioned response. No matter what he sees in the field, and you'll be successful.
Duck Dog with Mike Stewart is presented by Purina Pro Plan, nutrition that performs. DUTV is brought to you by Native Nurseries, hand-selected, hand-grown plants for wildlife. Higdon Outdoors, quality, customer service, innovation. That's Higdon. Biologic, scientifically proven wildlife products. Intelligent firearms storage made by Secure-It provides closed captioning for DUTV. The gun storage game will never be the same.
The first thing you need to teach a new shooter is how to hold the gun, both so they'll be comfortable and so they'll hit what they shoot at. So we start with the feet. Most people want to stand sideways and hold a shotgun like it's a rifle, and really it's a lot easier if you can get them to open up a little bit more to the target and lean forward slightly. I tell people to get your nose over your front toes, and that's all the forward lean you need. And then if you get the elbow up like this, it makes the pocket right here so that they don't have the gun out on their shoulder where it hurts, but in here where you can absorb the recoil. What I've found is once you get them there, they still want to hang their head over the gun. And if you can give them the idea of turn into the gun like that, that does the same thing, but it keeps the eyes level, keeps the head from lolling over the stock where you get kicked harder. And so the gun mount that they'll learn may not be perfect, but it's important that you do some shooting with a low gun too, so they get the idea of getting the gun up their face, getting aligned, hitting the target. There'll be time to learn a really good gun mount later, but if you're trying to take a new person, give them a lesson, you need to make sure they know how to get the gun up, get it ready, and make the shot. And again, I'm always going to keep the lessons short and simple and fun. 50 shots, 75 shots is more than enough. It's a lot better to do that 2 or 3 times than do one marathon session. It's short, it's simple, it's fun, they don't burn out, and they're more likely to have success when they go hunting.
Duck Gun is presented by Black Cloud Ammunition. Drop ducks like rain.
We're here again at the Federal Ammunition Plant, and today we're going to take a closer look at Black Cloud.
And here is where we cut it to size. Today on this machine we're making 3-inch Black Cloud. This cuts it at a precise length every time. Make sure we get that same length. All right, on this operation we're making the cup for the shotgun shell. Starts off as a piece of strip fed into the machine, and through a series of progressive operations the cup's slowly formed and then removed from the strip. Okay, this is what we call our header. In this operation we add our plastic tube, the cup, and the primer all together to get our headed hull. And then the components are all added together as it goes around the dial. Each part is added. So in the end you have this headed hull ready to go to the printer. Well, Phil, here's the printer. And the printer, we take the headed hull, we add our ink to the cartridge to tell us what kind of round it is. This printer is unique because we can put multiple colors on here.
And this ink doesn't rub off, right?
Right, which is different than a standard round. So you sit here and rub all day and it's not going to come off.
How do you do that?
Well, let's walk through it. As they're fed in here, and then they go through a series of dials where different ink colors are added. This machine can use different color inks. Here we're putting white and gold on for the Black Cloud. All right, Phil, this is the next step in the operation. We take our printed hull. This is where all the components are added together into the loader. The headed hull comes in here and it's chamfered. The tip of the hull is cut at an angle, so when we go to crimp it, it lays down real nice and flat. All right, Phil, the next step here is the loader. So at the loader, we add our chamfered hull. The first step is to make sure that that hull's there. So there's a sensor to check and see that the hull's there. Then the next is the powder. Obviously, the powder is pretty important. So we have a sensor there to tell us there's the right amount of powder present in the load. The next step is the wad. And after the wad, we add the shot. And with Black Cloud, obviously, we have the 2 different types of shot, the plate stopper steel and the steel shot. So we have 2 separate feeders here that feed each shot with sensors that make sure that we have the right amount for each load. The next step is the crimp. And the crimp, the first thing is a pre-fold, and then you have a roller, and then you have the final crimp. And that's how you get that nice 6-segment crimp on your loaded round. So you can see here, we use this operation of the black light to verify that the seal got in there. You can use it on both the mouth end and on the primer end. This is a quality check we do periodically to make sure that our seal's getting where it needs to be.
These late snow goose hunts are important to the population management of snow geese, which continue to erode their fragile breeding grounds in the far north. Hunters are helping keep populations in check, and when conditions are right, the hunting can be fantastic. That's it for this installment of DUTV. Thanks for watching, and good hunting to you and yours, and please visit us anytime at ducks.org.
Intelligent firearms storage made by Secure It provides closed captioning for DUTV. The gun storage game will never be the same.